I'm not perfect. I'm a human being with a lot of flaws and imperfections. And these imperfections range from my physical disabilities, like my cerebral palsy, mental illnesses, like the fact that I have been diagnosed with like ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety. I've almost got 5 pieces of exodia here. And just my own emotional shortcomings. But I'm also a creator. I'm someone who loves telling stories and working on stories and talking to my friends about ideas that they have and seeing them come to fruition and helping them workshop them. That is shit that I fucking love. And as an imperfect person, I know I will never create a work that is actually perfect. But it doesn't stop me from trying. It doesn't stop me from putting my soul, my blood, my sweat, my tears into my passion, into my work. It's not going to be perfect, but I want it to be as close as it can possibly be. To me, that's what Black Swan is all about. It's about an artist's pursuit of perfection in their craft. Nina's talent is almost never called into question. Her technique and her control are beautiful. Tomas, I think it's actually just Thomas, not Tomas, but the director of the company says that frequently. Yeah, sorry. So for a second, her talent is not called into question, so much so that she can practically dance the white swan in her sleep, to a point where the opening scene of the movie is her kind of actually doing that because she's dancing the role in one of her dreams. But what she has in Odette, she lacks in Odile. The Black Swan needs more than talent and beauty and technique. The character requires passion, performance, and presentation. And she's struggling to get that part right, to get it perfect. And what begins as really, Journey? Really? I think that works. This is a video about a movie about the pursuit of perfection. And I start it with saying, I am not perfect, and I know my work isn't perfect. So something like that, with the dog outside just barking at something random, is not perfect. And that's okay. So I'm going to keep going. Sorry, now I have to find back where I was. I actually wrote a script for this one, believe it or not. And what begins as Nina's self-doubt and her feelings of inadequacy start to devolve into paranoid delusions, imposter syndrome, and this vicious cycle of feeding her own victim complex. And it, again, all stems from her desire to get into this character, to have this performance that will be perfect. And this culminates in the film's final 30 minutes. The Night of Terror sequence, stabbing Lily in a fit of panic and jealousy. It turned out she actually stabbed herself. And in my interpretation, and from what I understand, both the director and the actress disagree with this, I do think she dies after giving the performance of a lifetime. Now, Black Swan was first pitched to me as essentially a live-action Western version of Perfect Blue, which is a movie I absolutely adore. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't see a lot of the similarities and resemblances. There is even a scene with the main character naked in a bathtub, although she doesn't, scream under the water like it does in Perfect Blue. Nina and Mima are both conflating their reality and their performances, and there's times where both of them have to sell their body for their art. With Mima, it's when she has to make these very sexually charged videos. I believe they were advertisements. Maybe they were part of the show she was on, but I think they were ads. And then with Nina, it's the kissing Thomas, the scene when he's seducing her, and he's sexually harassing her, no bones about it, assuming it actually happened, because I don't know how much is actually happening with Nina, and it is again, kind of like with Perfect Blue, it's something I do enjoy about the movie. And hell, even their names are similar, Mima and Nina. But to me, the biggest difference between Black Swan and Perfect Blue is in their main theme. To me, Perfect Blue is not about the pursuit of perfection. It's about the pursuit of fame and trying to keep that, and of the relationship that a creator has with their audience. And sometimes an audience is going to be completely cool with what you do and a change of direction. Some fans, even some passionate fans, are really not going to like the stuff you do after you're selling out, even though it's you're trying something different, evolving as an artist. Some fans are fucking crazy and will stalk you and think that they own you and their image. And while I do feel like some of Mima's delusions are genuine, and in my own personal interpretation of Perfect Blue, I don't think most of that movie happened either. The one scene when she's like listening to two of the other characters from the show talk, and they're talking about how, oh yeah, like, the girl is crazy, she's been in an asylum the entire time. To me, that is the only scene in the movie that's real. I think that is Mima's one moment of lucidity. Everything else is her delusion about fame and being famous. However, with the way that Perfect Blue is, the way the narrative is presented, I feel like the way it's supposed to be interpreted is she's not actually crazy. She's just being gaslit into being crazy. Nina in Black Swan is actually crazy. And I do think, again, it is because of this. How did I say it at one point? I think I don't remember if I actually wrote it down, but I think at one point I referred to it as a, like, fallacious, and I don't like how that sounds. It almost sounds like fellatio. That wasn't the point. But, like, it's a fallacy, this, like, fallacious pursuit of perfection that you can't ever really attain. And it's just driving her crazier and crazier and crazier. Not to say that she was sane beforehand, because I don't necessarily think she was either. But I think thematically, Black Swan is more similar to a film like Whiplash, because both films are about a character with a talent, with a passion, but they alienate themselves from the people that they love because they become so obsessed with a superior's, with getting a superior's approval. With Andrew, it's about Fletcher, and with Nina, it's Thomas. And I think the diverging point with these two movies is the ending. And by the end of Whiplash, Andrew has Fletcher's respect, and he has his approval. And I feel like that is what his goal is throughout the movie. It starts as like, I want to be a musician, and it ends with, I need to have his respect. Black Swan, as much as Nina does want Thomas's respect and approval and all of that, she is far more desperate for her own approval. And it's telling to me because at the end of the movie, it doesn't just end with him saying, oh, you're my little princess. And God, did I cringe when he said that, given the context that they discussed earlier in the film, where Beth, the previous lead dancer of the ballet, was his little princess. And I think it's Lily's like, yeah, he probably says that to all the girls or all his favorites. It's a matter of time before he says it to you, and then he says it to her at the end, and oh, I hated it. But Nina doesn't really notice. She doesn't notice the creepiness of it. She doesn't even really acknowledge the fact that he said that. Instead, the final line that she has is all about her art and her pursuit of her craft. I felt it. I was perfect. Odette's death was beautiful, but Nina's death was perfect. Black Swan is an interesting character study. But to me, it is a cautionary tale about an artist focusing on their doubts rather than their own talent. Of course, as an artist, as a creator, whatever medium or genre it is, you want your work to be better. You want it to be the best it can possibly be. I've done a lot of that. I spent a lot of time on my writing, like I was saying earlier. You get the idea, and then you start writing it, and then you see it change and evolve, and then you edit it, and then you rewrite, and then you got to edit again. One of the things I'm working on, I've been working on it off and on for about 10 years now. The other thing I've been working on, not even off and on, has been like the last 5 years, and I'm still tinkering and working and making it better and taking the things that I had and fixing it. And it is maddening. It does get frustrating. It'd be like, I thought I had it and I don't. Why isn't it better yet? Why is it not perfect? But no art is worth your health, your sanity, or your life. It's important to understand limits. It's important to understand when to take a break, when to walk away, whether for an extended period of time, a brief period of time, or sometimes altogether. I'm not perfect. You, my hypothetical audience, are not perfect either. And that's okay.